everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to be looking at transpose in Power BI. So have you ever come across a data set that looks like this, where the columns are used as rows and rows are used as columns? Now this is where transpose comes to play. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be taking you through everything you need to know about transpose. This tutorial, we are going to be looking at it in two different phases, but in the same video. The phase one will be the theoretical aspect, where I'll be introducing the meaning of transpose, when to use transpose, and the key things to look at before making use of transpose in Power BI. And the second part, which is the practical part, where you will be using a data set I prepared myself to know how to transpose in Power BI. So if you're a beginner in Power BI, or even if you're an expert in Power BI that has not come across the term transpose in Power BI, and you don't know where to find it in Power BI, and you don't actually know what it does, and you don't actually know how to make use of it in Power BI, then this video is for you. Again, if this is the first time you're seeing my video, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Precious. I'm a data scientist and a financial analyst. So I constantly share videos on data science, financial analysis, and even accounting. So if these are features you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my videos, and also share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and let's get started. Understanding transpose in Power BI. Introduction to transpose. Now, let's take a look at this data set. Now, typically, if you have been working with data sets, there's one thing you're going to know, that on a normal scenario, this is not actually how a data set should look like. So on a normal scenario, a data set should not look like this. On a normal scenario, we should have our customer name, customer occupation, and customer education. Now, if you're faced with a data set like this, how do you rearrange this data set to suit the typical structure of a data set? Now, this is where transpose comes in. Now, have you ever opened a data set and felt like everything is flipped the wrong way? Just like the exact data set you're seeing here. Red columns are being used as rows and rows are being used as columns. Now, this is where transpose in Power BI comes to rescue us. What exactly is transpose? Transpose is a transformation in Power BI's Power Query editor that lets you switch rows to columns or columns to rows. It is just like flipping your data sideways, so it makes more sense for analysis. Now, when we make use of transpose, this is actually what we will end up with, where we have the customer ID, the customer name, the customer occupation, and the customer education. So this is actually what transpose actually do. Now, why use transpose? Why is transpose necessary? Why is transpose important? Transpose helps us to fix wrongly structured data sets. For example, when we look at this, we know that this data set is actually wrongly structured. So what transpose does is it actually helps us to restructure our data and helps us fix wrongly structured data sets, like helping us fix this to this. When rows represent categories or metrics instead of columns, we also use transpose to achieve cleaner visuals and better relationships in data models. Transpose is actually useful before unpivoting, or creating visuals. Now, I'm going to create another video where I'll be talking about pivoting and unpivoting in Power BI. There are key things you need to note before transposing. And number one is you can only transpose table with consistent column counts across rows. So for you to be able to transpose a data set, you must ensure that the data set has consistent column counts across rows. Number two key thing to note is transpose is non-destructive. You can always undo it in your Power Query steps. We'll be showing this when we are actually in the practical section. Another thing you need to know is that transpose actually works best before loading data into your model in Power Query. Now let's go over to our practical section and actually see how we can transpose in Power BI. So this is our Power BI desktop. Now we are going to be making use of the data set I actually created for the purpose of this tutorial. So let's hop back into our Power BI desktop. Now the first thing we have to do is when you look at this, you see that this is an Excel file. So what we have to do is we simply have to go here and import data from Excel. Then let's go over here and click on the first data set. Then let's open it. Okay, so when we click on this, you see that this is a preview of our first data sets. So we are going to be using the transpose to actually rearrange this particular data set, okay, to make it make more sense, just like the way we talked about in our theoretical section. So what we have to do is click here and we can simply go into transform data. Now this will open up our Power BI query. So to actually transpose this, all we just have to do is go to our transform. So you will see the transpose right over here. So all you have to just do is click this. Okay. As you can see now, this data is now properly arranged compared to when we imported it into our Power BI. Now let's take a look at the data and see what transpose actually did. Now, when you look at this, okay, you will see that we have the first name, the second name, and the A. Okay, so what did transpose actually do? What transpose actually did was it converted each row to a column. Okay, as you can see, this first name here is a column. It turned the second name from a row to a column. It turned the age from a name to a column. We ended up having first name, second name, and age, which is actually the exact way a normal data set should be presented. Okay, so this is actually what the transpose function does. And the second part, which is the practical part, where we'll be